Hello and welcome to Start Bench Sell, the fans edition. And Paddy, this week we have Frank Lampard, Paul Scholes, and Steven Gerrard. We're going to be looking at who is the greatest midfielder between the three. Who are we going to be starting? Who are we going to be benching? And who are we going to be selling? This could spark a lot of debate because, again, it's a lot of this comes down to personal preference on what type of player you're after. But what we'll do is I'm going to read out a lot of stats about them, goals, assists, all sorts of appearances. It'll hopefully help us along the way in making a decision on what we want to do. So I'll start it off right, and I'll start off with Frank Lampard. So if we look at him, total appearances, he's got 1,019, 913 for club and 106 for country. His total goals is 303, 274 for club and 29 for England. His total assists in his career is 166, 150 for club and 16 for England. When we move on to Paul Scholes, he's got 784 appearances, with 718 of them being for club and 66 for England. He's got a total of 166 goals, 152 for club and 14 for England. And he's got a total assists of 77, 71 for club and 6 for England. Moving on to Gerrard, he's got 863 appearances total, 749 of them are for club and 114 is for England. 206 goals in total, 185 for club and 21 for international England, obviously. And total assists is 160 and for the clubs is 145 and 15 for England. Paddy, this comes down to what do you want in a player, right? And there is many arguments about this one. But what I would say is when I'm looking for a midfielder, what I would go to first is who's creating chances, who's scoring goals. And I think there's one man that does that very well. And when you look at the three of them, so obviously I would go Lampard is probably the more clinical finisher, kind of getting into the box, bursting into the box, that type of player. He's very, I suppose his endurance would be one thing that he would kind of stand out. You can tell by the appearances and stuff like that. He's had far more games than the others. Gerrard would be the type of player he's a true leader. He'll pick up the team. He'll drive a team forward. He'll do all sorts like that. He's an all-round player. Very good attacking, good passing range. Very good defensively as well. Paul Scholes for me is someone that just controls the speed of a game. His passing ability is probably better than both of them. And he's an anchor in midfield. He would dictate. He's a playmaker. He would dictate how fast the game goes, and not many midfielders have that type of control. When you were looking for a midfielder, Paddy, what are you looking for? What's your go-to?
Look, it depends on what you're building around.
Yeah.
So like when Paul Scholes was playing in that United squad, he had everything around him that he needed to be able to perform to his best. If I'm looking at United now, what type of a player would I like? I'd probably say like the likes of I think we need a leader. So we needed the likes of a Gerrard there. Someone to because I'd look at Gerrard close. So if I really was to do this, it would be between Lampard, Gerrard, and Keane, because I think Keane is probably the best midfielder Manchester United has ever had. But not discounting Paul Scholes and what he done for the club, because he retired, came back, and helped us win the league again.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, I think, as you said there, this is one of those lose decisions, because they're three unbelievable players, and as soon as you say you're going to bench one of them, everyone's going to be like, "What are you benching him for?" So you can't win. You can't win.
So Paddy, I suppose we do need to make decisions. So I think what we need to do is start off with a sell. And I'm gonna ask you to give me your player that you're gonna be selling first. And I'd like your reasoning around the selling decision.
Right. This, I think, comes down to, I suppose there was one deciding factor, because three of them, you'd take any three of them in any of your teams nowadays: Liverpool, Manchester United, or Chelsea.
They walk into every team. They walk into every team.
Absolutely, and in their own ways, they would put their stamp on each team. Three very different players. They tried to play them together for England so many times, but they just couldn't do it. And look, that's because they just don't fit well together. And look, that's fair enough. So I'm looking at what have they won in the game and their contributions to their team as well. So you've got Steven Gerrard, who for a long time played in an under-financed, mediocre Liverpool side. And I'm not being disparaging when I say that. A lot of Liverpool fans would say that. So the Jackson Gillette era, Hicks and Gillette.
You got there eventually. You got there.
Yeah, I got there eventually. You had their area. Like when Rafa came in, I seen him on the Stick to Football podcast a while ago, and he was telling us about the resources he had. So other than the Champions League that they won the Mickey Mouse treble one season as well, with the Europa League, I think the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. So then you look at Frank Lampard, who played under Jose Mourinho. I know their managers, but let's look at his most successful spell in Chelsea. Was probably with Jose Mourinho, and like at that time, won many Premier Leagues, scored lots and lots of goals. Not with Mourinho, but won Champions Leagues and Premier Leagues and Cups.
Yep.
And then you've got Paul Scholes under Ferguson, who's won 11 Premier Leagues, 2 Champions Leagues, FIFA World Cup, and numerous cups. So it's with a heavy heart. Well, not really, because I don't really like this club, probably most out of 3 of them. But I'm going to bench or sell Gerrard.
See, I get what you're saying, and I hear when you said that kind of like it depends on what you are building that team around. And I thought that when I look at Gerrard in comparison to the both of the other two, I think he probably carried that Liverpool team for a lot longer than the others probably would have carried them. Like he was the one that kind of grabbed the whole team by the scruff and nearly raised everyone else around him. He raised their level, like. So I don't know if I can.
Cost him the league, though.
He did cost him the league, absolutely. Slippy Gerrard, and to be honest with you, that's when I came at peace with him, because remember he was supposed to be joining Chelsea, and he fucked it up, and that was kind of the moment, my little Zen moment when he slipped and
saved a few quid there.
Yeah. So it was beautiful to kind of see that, although heartbreaking for him. But look, it's happened to John Terry as well. You know, it happens to the best of them. So, but I do think if I'm looking at these 3 players, Paddy, and you're gonna hate me for this, but I'm gonna have to sell Paul Scholes. I really am. And
I do think your decision making is based more on wind-ups than actually.
It's not. Facts. It's not because, and I will give you my justification for Paul Scholes, because although he's won 11 Premier Leagues, I feel like that United team possibly could have won just as many without him there. I don't know. He did. He was very good. His passing ability was excellent. Listen, Paddy, again, you said it before. It's a lose-lose. No, I don't win here from selling Paul Scholes. I would put him in my Chelsea team today. So let's just get that straight. But if I'm looking at the other 2 players, I'm seeing goals and assists from Lampard. I'm seeing a pure leader from Gerrard. I'm seeing attacking and defensive from Gerrard. I'm seeing clinical, getting into the box, number 10 role, or whatever you want to call it, for Lampard. They call it the 10 role now. I wouldn't have said that. I would have said he was more of an 8 bursting into the box, but apparently now it's a 10 role. But I didn't see that from Scholes, and
he wasn't out and out that type of player. He was the player that took the ball just from the defense.
Deep, and then, he would spray a pass, like
and even the link up play with him and Carrick as well. Like when Keane was gone, like he was multi-generational. Like he was 11 Premier League titles. I'm sorry, but like you can't sell someone that has 11 Premier League titles. 11.
I know, but
2 Champions Leagues.
Cleberson and all has a fucking like a Premier League title. Do you know what I mean? Like, come
Yeah,
on.
11 though. I'm saying
I
11.
know. Look, it is hard to look at, and if I was just going on trophies, the only thing I would say is that
But I
Premier
have
League
other arguments, and we'll talk
Premier
about them
League
soon.
trophies are a team trophy. So when I look at individual stuff, I look at Lampard's goal scoring record. He's the highest scoring midfielder in Premier League history, and he's also ranked 5th in the overall top scoring for everyone. So he's like he's gone above and beyond for in terms of like him getting goals and assists. He's up there as well. Again, if I'm just looking at a player that if I've got them 3 players sitting on the bench, I'm probably using Scholes less than the other 2, because I do think that Paul Scholes defensively actually was fucking terrible. He was a terrible tackler. Paul Scholes he was one of the worst tacklers I've ever seen in my life. It was funny
That's
to
why
watch.
He had Kane beside him.
Exactly, and you needed that kind of someone that could break up play and then just give the ball to him. So like, and Keane obviously knew that. Keane knew he was the dog.
Yeah, but Lampard needed people to feed his runs because he made so many runs into the box. He didn't make the goals himself. Like,
he made a lot of them
receiving the ball.
But yeah, I mean, you have to receive the ball. Everybody has to receive the ball. Oh, we could say
no, but in the box he was receiving. Like, it's not as if he was taking it from outside the box and playing all them. Like, but I'm not like brilliant at what he done. But in terms of helping control a game, I don't think he could control a game the way the other 2 could.
I don't think controlling the game. Yeah, I wouldn't say that Lampard was a game controlling type of person.
I want my midfielder to control a game.
I don't know, because what I'm seeing is I'm seeing Lampard there, but I'm seeing Claude Makelele behind him. Again, this is where it comes into the team. And like I said, I've said that Lampard's not the controlling type of player, and you've said, well, I want my midfielder to control a game. But then I'd say to you, right, I want a goal from a midfielder, and you're going to say to me, well, he had fucking David Beckham out on the wing, he'd Ronaldo in front of, you know what I mean? So like that's where you kind of that's why it's such a hard debate, because you're looking at nearly different positions. You're nearly looking at like Scholes would be like a more defensive line midfielder. You've probably got Gerrard in the middle who would cover to and from both of them, and then you've got Lampard who's just fucking so clinical up in that little kind of attack in the final third. So again, when we kind of slate the other players, we're not slating them. We're just kind of trying to justify making this ridiculous decision that we have to make. So that's the only reason why I'm gonna sell Paul Scholes. Now, don't fucking twist my words. He'd be in any team in the Premier League this year. No questions. But unfortunately for this scenario, he's getting sold. Sorry, Paddy.
No, look, I'm gonna prove with my next argument why.
Okay, we'll move on. Let's go. Next segment. Let's go. We'll jump straight into it then. Let's not sit on it. Let's go. Right, next argument. Who are we benching?
Benching and selling. Look. So right, I'm gonna bench Lampard and I'm gonna start Scholes. And why did I do this?
Fuck knows.
People that know a lot more about football than me and you, and this is well known and video evidence of it. Pep Guardiola, Thierry Henry. They've been asked the question, who would you have between the 3 of them? And they all say, look, there's no competition. It's Paul Scholes every day of the week. He was a magician. He was a Pirlo, the ginger Pirlo. That's what he was. There was no player that touched him in the Premier League for his playmaking abilities. He's seen things that no other player could see. And he could do things that no other player could do in terms of pass, shooting. Some of the goals he scored, worldies. So look, that's my decision. And I think having Pep and Thierry Henry on my side, backing me up, is all the arguments I need, really.
Well, I'll raise you Pep, and I'll see your Pep on your fucking Thierry Henry, and I'll raise you Jose Mourinho. All right. Frank Lampard is
made for him.
Frank Lampard is the first person on that team sheet. Frank Lampard is my starter, and I'll tell you why. Because
he had enough goals in his team.
The goals.
He tried to buy Gerrard to replace Lampard.
No. Listen, he was getting bought in as backup for Lampard.
He was getting bought in as backup.
You know what was happening there, right? Same thing we done with Torres. We bought Torres because he kept fucking rinsing us. So we were buying Lampard or Gerrard because he kept rinsing us.
No, Lampard is going to be on the bench.
Lampard is starting because I tell you what wins games, Paddy. Not controlling a game, scoring goals. And that is the only stat that matters, is scoring goals. You cannot, I'm going to go turn into Michael Owen here. You can't win games if you don't score goals. And that is an absolute fact. The all-time top scoring midfielder ever in the Premier League, and the 5th overall top scorer in the Premier League. Like, that is outrageous for a midfielder. And you don't see that type of
Premier
midfielder
League titles, 2 Champions Leagues.
Lampard's got 3 Premier League titles. I'll tell you who doesn't have a Premier League title.
In 2/3 of the amount of games as Lampard.
I'll tell you who has no Premier League titles. Steven Gerrard.
Yeah, and you still didn't sell him.
That's how good he is. That's how good
why you're going red now, because you know how ridiculous your argument is.
No. Listen, Paddy. He was in an unbelievable Manchester United team. All right, I don't know how we've ended up going back to Paul Scholes again here. All right, I'm talking about Frank Lampard going forward. This man right here. Look at
Gerrard was going to replace him at Chelsea. That's why.
He's right there, Paddy. That's him right there with his arm around John Terry. He is the greatest midfielder of all time in the Premier League, and I will fight you to the death. Top scorer. All you have to do. All you have to do is just look up the stats. Look up the goal scoring stats. What wins games? Goals. What wins games? Assists. Lampard. He's done it. He's been there, done it. He wore the t-shirt. He's lifted every trophy he can for Chelsea. So that's what I'm going to be doing.
So many games, and
longevity. He's giving you longevity. He's giving over 1,000 career games. Unbelievable! What a man!
And he still couldn't get as many trophies as Scholes.
Oh well, look, come on. You just bought them. You're right. You bought them. All right. Chelsea don't buy stuff. Right? You just bought 11 leagues. No, Paddy, I'm going to start Lampard. I have to. I could not start Lampard. And Gerrard is going on the bench. And the reason it's Gerrard over Scholes is just because I think he's a bit more of an overall player. Like I said there, if I want that defensive playmaking midfielder, I'm definitely picking Paul Scholes. But I'm looking as an overall, who would I bring off the bench to change the game or lift my team to the next level? I'm bringing Gerrard off now, or I'm bringing him on. I would bring Scholes on if I wanted to shut up shop, but I'm probably trying to chase a game more than I'm trying to
bring Scholes to shut up shop.
Just to control the game. No, I'd control the pace of the game. I would, yeah.
You want a goal, you bring on Paul Scholes because he's going to be feeding those balls up to the attackers. Come on,
stop that, Paddy. I don't know what else we can add to that. I think we've covered all bases there.
I think now we've lost half of our followers probably because you made such a ridiculous decision.
Listen, I think you putting Lampard on the bench is a travesty. And
but the 4 Chelsea fans aren't going to stop listening.
Well, they better not, because I need backup. I need as much as I can get. All right. I think if you look at my thing, Lampard starting, Gerrard coming on when I need him, and then just get rid of Scholes. I think that's fucking beautiful. I think it's a beautiful combination, and I'm not sorry. And
so you would have brought Gerrard on to replace Lampard, just like Mourinho wanted it at Chelsea, because Lampard really wasn't the real deal.
Here we go. We're just buying him to add to the team, okay? Add to that phenomenal team that we already had. Paddy, do you have anything else you want to add onto any of this before we end this?
Goals is a different class to either of them. I'd sell the
goals.
Goals, Paul Goals, yeah.
Right, Goalpard. That was a terrible thing. Sorry, it was shocking. So I think we'll end it there, Paddy. I think that is our start bench sell for Paul Scholes, Gerrard, and Lampard done.
Great debate.
If you are watching on YouTube and you have watched this, or it will be on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like the video. Give a little comment on it. We'd like to hear who you would start, bench, and sell. Get it in below. And go over to our Instagram. You can see all the little things on the screen if you're watching. Instagram, Twitter, or now X, whatever you want to call it, Facebook, Twitch, the whole lot. We are there and we're waiting for you, and we will be interactive with you. So we are the best Premier League podcast in Ireland, and there's no doubt about it. So Paddy, in the world. Paddy, we will be back next week at the same time with another start bench sale, and we'll see everybody then.